What happens when the most powerful leader on Earth is completely terrified by a nightmare, and none of his experts can help him? This is the moment a forgotten prisoner's life changes forever. 2 years later, Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing on the bank of the Nile River. In his dream, he saw 7 fat, healthy cows come up out of the river and begin grazing in the marsh grass. Then he saw 7 more cows come up behind them from the Nile, but these were scrawny and thin. These cows stood beside the fat cows on the riverbank. Then the scrawny, thin cows ate the 7 healthy, fat cows. At this point in the dream, Pharaoh woke up, but he fell asleep again and had a second dream. This time he saw 7 heads of grain, plump and beautiful, growing on a single stalk. Then 7 more heads of grain appeared, but these were shriveled and withered by the east wind. And these thin heads swallowed up the 7 plump, well-formed heads. Then Pharaoh woke up again and realized it was a dream. The next morning, Pharaoh was very disturbed by the dreams, so he called for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. When Pharaoh told them his dreams, not one of them could tell him what they meant. Now we see that Joseph waited 2 full years in deep obscurity after the cupbearer was released. It felt like a forgotten season, but God's delays are never denials. God deliberately held the cupbearer's memory until the exact moment he troubled the mind of the king. When human wisdom fails and the smartest institutions are completely baffled, God positions his hidden servants to bring clarity. Your time in the shadows isn't wasted. It's a strategic pause before an unavoidable assignment. Now back to Scripture. Finally, the king's chief cupbearer spoke up. "Today I have been reminded of my failure," he told Pharaoh. "Some time ago you were angry with the chief baker and me, and you imprisoned us in the palace of the captain of the guard. One night the chief baker and I each had a dream, and each dream had its own meaning. There was a young Hebrew man with us in the prison who was a slave of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he told us what each of our dreams meant, and everything happened just as he had predicted. I was restored to my position as cupbearer, and the chief baker was executed and impaled on a pole." God is never early, and he is never late. The cupbearer forgot Joseph, but God didn't. If Joseph had been released 2 years prior, he might have just run back home to Canaan. Instead, God kept him in place until the stage was perfectly set for him to step into world leadership. When you feel forgotten by people, trust that God is managing your calendar. He will cause the right people to remember you at the exact moment your gift is required. Thank you for joining me today with Genesis chapter 41, part 1. We will continue with part 2 on Fire Day. God loves you, and I'll see you next time.